gonna give this a try. Something a little different from the norm. And you draw this down here, and it's supposed to simulate a road or a highway. And I already did this next one just to kind of show you what a basic three-way intersection looks like. As you can see, you click the stopwatch and it generates the traffic flow. Anyway, I tried this because I wanted to do something a little different. I wanted to try a gaming background while I talk about politics. And the reason why I picked this game is when I was a child, I did want to be a civil engineer, building roads or designing, maybe not a city planner, but in that vein. And when I was in high school, got into a fight and I got expelled because the zero violence tolerance policies, which is the topic of today's video when I get into it. And I know what you're thinking, you're probably rolling your eyes like, oh, this guy wanted to be an engineer, just like the government says, all the people sneaking into this country are all engineers and doctors and technicians and all the positions we need. No, 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 it's just a silly childhood dream I never realized, but let's talk about why I didn't get a chance to realize it or progress past high school. We're gonna get into that. Let's try this next map. Oh. Now there's many options. You could do a roundabout. You could do a four-leaf clover. Or we could try a stack interchange. Anyway, the reason why zero violence tolerance policies at least affected me the way they did in the 2000s was because they were introducing these woke policies even back then, 20 some odd years ago. And I know I probably sound ancient. Oh, this guy, he didn't go to school 20 years ago. Well, I did. Yeah, and that's right around the time we saw the spike in mass shootings as well. But let's get this underway before I really dig deep into this topic. The goal is to draw as straight a line as you can, which isn't easy. A lot like MS Paint. Okay. Man, that is pretty bad, but for the purposes of this video, it shall suffice. And then you go above it. And then you do that and you drop back down. God, that's bad. And so back to the topic, mass shootings and zero violence tolerance policies. Now I know what you're saying. The zero violence tolerance policies that are supposed to curtail physical violence, fistfights, bullying, pushing, shoving, go hand in hand with the anti-shooting policies, right? Like, well, they're not going to beat each other up, so they're not going to bring a gun. And that sounds great on paper, but human psychology, how we behave in the real world, is completely different. What these policies do are they basically defend the bully. If two kids argue and the one kid that's getting bullied gets louder or makes a scene, the teacher will come running along, chastise, give the kid detention, punish him, blah, 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 make him the bad guy while the bully gets a free pass. Because as anyone who's ever played on a playground knows, it's not who started it, it's who gets caught, basically. And I got caught many times. But I didn't get expelled until my high school year, my senior year, to be specific, when I was in high school. Anyway, we're going to get into that. I just want to draw this. Draw this. And draw this. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're like, well, you're not going to be able to get a clover in there. No, I'm not, because I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to try a stack. And this will be interesting. I don't think this will be the most efficient thing I've ever done. I've never played this game before, but I have played City Skylines, so let's give this a try. Let's see what we can do here. Ooh, I could have peeled it off of there. Fuck it. Alright, so we're going to swing around here. I'm going to go... God. And before you ask, there is not an undo tool. What you see down here is what you get. You get the raise, you get the lower, you get the clock, you get the menu, you get the clear button, which is our new friend. We're going to get to know that old boy very well very soon. So basically what I'm saying is that these rules on paper make perfect sense, but in reality, kids get bullied all the time. And I don't think these mass shootings are just because some guy got bullied for a week and decided to go to school and shoot up the joint after grabbing his dad or his mom's gun. It's not how that works. The reality of the situation is the bullies basically ridicule these kids for years. That is hideous. Well, there's your breakdown line. They bully these kids for years, and after so many years, let's say the kid starts getting bullied in fourth or fifth grade, and by the time they get to high school, they snap. They're sick of it, especially with the rise of social media, your TikToks, your Instagrams, your Twitters, your Facebooks. The kids can never escape the crap they deal with at school because whatever happens at school follows them when they go home and go on the computer. Because all these kids have tablets, cell phones, you name it, they have it. I've been to a laundromat and I've seen kids that are still in fucking diapers playing on a tablet, these iPods or iPads, whatever the hell. Yeah. So let's give this a go. Originally, I was going to go for a stack, but we got ourselves a cloverleaf. A beautiful cloverleaf. I know you're thinking this is as beautiful as a transgender female or male to female, I guess you call it. I don't know. I don't, you know. Huh. Yeah, that's how they are in Michigan. You got the really wide gap in between the freeways. What do they call them? Michigan lefts, I believe, where you'll have a road and you can do left and another left and you can loop back. But that gap you see right there in between the interstate, that's basically so that when the left turn, it gives the room for traffic to flip a U-turn at various points. This is obviously a cloverleaf. It's not bad. It's not your typical California one, but does the job as I demonstrated. And I guess now it's time to go next level. I was happy with that. Oh, I didn't want to see that again. I mean, it is beautiful in its own way. So where to now? Let's see what's on the left-hand side. Oh boy, a beautiful lake. We got a park here. We got a little information kiosk, maybe. I doubt it's a house. Anyway, so back to the point. You get these kids, they get bullied, and they snap. They grab their parents' gun. They go to school, and it goes on the news. And why does this happen? Because in my day, in the 90s when I grew up, I went to high school in the 2000s. You could settle your issues with a fist fight. You fight, and I wasn't looking for trouble. But what happens is you get these assholes that start shit. People get in fights. And the fun fact is if someone was fucking with you back then, if you stood up to him, didn't matter if you lost or you won, the guy would move on. He ain't looking to fight some guy every other week. He ain't looking for someone who's willing to stick up for themselves. What they're looking for, these people who are so insecure with themselves. Can we go a little straighter? There we go. These people that are so insecure with themselves are looking for someone weak to pick on, and that's the whole point of what they do. They're insecure about themselves because they have issues at home, or they're just a piece of shit person or whatever. And now you're thinking, oh, that's fucked up. They're just kids. Yes and no. It takes someone, if they're having problems at home, that's still pretty fucked up that you got to spread your misery to someone, basically an innocent party, just because they don't have the newest shoes or the newest shirt or the newest fashions or whatever. But oh, I see now. Interesting. Okay, this looks pretty janky, but you're gonna see I'm gonna make it work. Maybe I won't. Let's give this a go. Oh, really? God, I hate this game. Well, hate's a harsh word. Maybe I should have went for a roundabout, as stupid as that sounds. I try to figure out what's wrong with this. I just wanted to explain that you didn't see the spike in mass shootings until these zero violence tolerance policies took effect. Getting back to my story why I was kicked out of high school, I'd like to tell that story now. When I first transferred to Hillview, there was this Principal Hernandez. He was a good guy. Um, did monthly barbecues. I think I got an award my first month for attending the school because I did really well grade wise, socially. I excelled. I made a lot of friends. Before my knee went out, I used to play soccer. God, I miss those days. Those were better days. But yeah, it was good times. OD took over during my second year. O'Donohue, he's a Irish asshole alcoholic. And yeah, not gonna put an allegedly in there. I'm not gonna censor myself. I know what you're saying. Oh, you're being racist because he's Irish. No, 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 no. This stereotypes exist for a reason, and this guy hits the stereotype on the nose here. So this piece of shit, he comes in, he gets rid of all the fast food we had during those years because I want to say it was the 2000s, 2001, that period where they started banning fast food in schools. I don't think Arnold Schwarzenegger did it. I think he banned sodas, but before soda ban, I think it was fast foods. But Hillview held out for many years, and by the time I got there, 2 or 3 years after the ban, I mean, we had fast food. We had Carl's Jr., we had McDonald's and other things delivered to the school. Great times, good motivator. You go to school, you want good food. You don't want to eat that dog food they're serving nowadays. Fucking Obama, and now to a lesser extent Biden. All these healthy options. You got millions of pounds of food getting thrown out. Anyway, I'm gonna try this. That doesn't make sense. All right, let's try this. And basically, O'Donohue, the first thing that asshole did was he got rid of all the fast food. God, that is an abysmal score. I can do better than that. He got rid of all the fast food. And he did this, I don't know, I want to say like in the winter months, and then like a week or two after he initiated all these fast food bans, um, we had an assembly, he called an assembly, basically pat himself on the back, fucking gloat and boast about how great he was for getting rid of all these foods and how he was battling obesity. God, yeah. Okay, let's try this again. He was battling obesity and trying to do all that crap and yada yada yada. But no, this whole thing just really pisses me off. So I'm obviously having trouble focusing. But it's really stupid because we only had two fat guys at Hillview at that time. It was a not very populated high school. I think we had about 300 or 400 people. And let's try this first. There we go. So we had 200 or 300 kids, and 2 or 3 of the guys were fat. Big whoop. And this guy, he decided to get rid of fast food. And it sounds noble, it sounds like this glorious endeavor, but it really wasn't. Because the food he replaced it with was this disgusting leftover chicken from Foothill High and the surrounding middle school. I want to say it was Hughes. I don't think it was CT. I think CT's off Irvine Boulevard. But irregardless, I had a buddy. His name was Troll. I hung out with the metalheads. We had kind of a group where we'd all get together at lunch and discuss our favorite bands. I think Troll, like Blind Guardian, Graveworm, Jesus, was kind of all over the place. This guy wore camo and looked a lot like Jesus. He had the goatee and he had the hair. I was more into the Finnish melodic side. I preferred Bodum, Kalma, Norther. God, Norther was a great band until their third album. I think they were just kind of following the trends and didn't know what the hell to do because that band went to hell after the third album. Same thing with Bodum, no. I think it was after their fifth album, Are You Dead Yet? It just went to hell. Blood Drunk was pure garbage, God. Thank God that we got hexed before Lexi died. That was an amazing album. That was a return to form. That should have been the fifth album. Hell, or even the sixth album. I wouldn't have cared. It would have been amazing. At least Calma's still going strong. They just released their ninth album that entitled Calma. This ain't a metal channel. I could talk about metal all day. It's my other passion. Not analyzing political trends. I listen to a lot of music because it takes me away from this horrible situation we find ourselves in this country. But we'd all get together and talk about metal. Troll one day picked up this frozen chicken leg. It was disgusting. It was covered in ice. Bites into it to, kind of freak us out because you know how teenage boys are. We fuck with each other. And it was gross. And the food was inedible. We had like frozen green beans, frozen chicken. It was a nightmare. And this guy was proud of it. OD had this stupid assembly, like I said, to pat himself on the back. And I remember lifting up my shirt after he said he was combating obesity, and I was skin and bones. I mean, I had a really high metabolism then. I still kind of do. And I lift up my shirt to show him my freaking ribs because it's like, what about guys like me? You got rid of the Pop Tarts, you got rid of the fast food, you got rid of anything that was edible, and you left us with ramen cups, frozen chicken, and all sorts of garbage. And he held a grudge against me ever since then. I did that like 6 or 7 months before I got expelled. That guy, well, yeah, held a fucking grudge. And the fight in question, I think I said this earlier in the video, but this guy fucking sucker punched me, cold cocked me, knocked me on the ground. I got to give the little bastard credit. He was 17, I was 18. There was a big difference in age, but he caught me off guard. I fell on the ground. I'm getting up. There's this security guard who weighed 300 or 400 pounds. This chick was huge. She was like a fridge. She was like 5'6" and just was tons of fun. She was huge. And she comes running in and he hits her too. And by the time I'm up, I got like a couple teachers restraining me. I got a couple teachers pulling me back, and he's getting pulled back by a couple teachers. And I end up in O'Donohue's office because he had to call an emergency meeting and had my dad come over. And my dad wasn't stupid. He knew right from the get go because when my dad had heard the story and everything was explained to him, he's like, "So my son is getting expelled for fighting, but he didn't lay a finger on this guy. He didn't punch anybody. He didn't do anything." And O'Donohue was like, "Well, he was involved in the fight, and we have a zero violence tolerance policy. It says that anyone's involved in a fight, well, they're gonna get expelled." So my dad wanted to know what's happening to the other kid. "Well, we're gonna give him a 2 week suspension." And my dad's like, "Okay, so my son gets expelled. He's like a couple months away from graduating, and this kid gets a vacation." "Oh, no, 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 it's not a vacation." Yeah, that's bullshit. Everyone in the room knew exactly what was going on. It was, for lack of a better word, a fucking vacation. And anyway, so that's one reason why I think zero violence tolerance policies are bullshit. Not just because they negatively impacted me, but just the simple fact that they don't really solve anything if you think about it. You really think about it. All it does is make the kid think they have no other option to prevent themselves from being bullied. They see this as a way out when they go and grab a weapon. Basically, put yourself in their shoes. Let's say you're in the middle of a country, rural setting, in the middle of Iowa or something, and you're being bullied for what, 10 years since you're like in fifth grade or something, and you just barely make it to high school and you're holding on. And this fucker keeps picking, picking, picking. Teachers don't care. And when you find out that, if you fight this guy or you try to stick up for yourself, you're going to get expelled, well, that's, you have to go to a new high school. That's, especially in the country, could be 30, 40 miles away. That could be clear across the county, maybe in a different city. Never across the state, though. They're not going to make your whole family move, but you're going to be on that bus for an hour. But that's not the worst of it. You lose all your friends. Yeah, social media exists, but it's not the same as actually hanging out with your friends. Maybe it's different nowadays, but we didn't really have computers when I was a kid. We did, but we didn't have them in our house. I mean, yeah, not like I got one in high school. But my point I'm trying to make is, to a kid, their whole world is their friends, their interactions, and their day-to-day routine. And when you pull them out of that high school, you expel them for getting in a fight. It destroys everything. So they're like left with two options. They can continue to endure the abuse, or they can end it. And in their limited, youthful naivete, they think, okay, well, if I shoot this guy, it'll end it. It's like, well, what's going to happen to you? They don't care. These people have been bullied for so goddamn long, they do not care. And that's why you see the spike in shootings ever since these policies were first enacted back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I call them woke policies because even though they seem like they'll fix everything, they really don't. And that's my beef with them, because they really aren't helping anyone. These people seem to think that these kids will just coexist, but it's all about the teachers getting involved too. If the teachers aren't keeping an eye on bullies and kids being bullied, then what do you think the outcome's going to be? And I know a lot of you out there are going to be like, oh, well, teachers aren't babysitters. Yeah, that's true. Very good point. But they still have an obligation to make sure all their kids are getting along and everyone's happy. They're supposed to keep an eye on this type of shit. And if they don't, well, then you get situations like Columbine. But that's kind of the obvious. Yeah, this is an awful roundabout, but you'll see why down here. It's not letting me do race section, so I gotta kind of play with the rules that the game has given me here. This is interesting. I think I've done everything this thing wants me to do, have I not? There we go. This is not pretty. Is it gonna jam? Not too shabby. Let's see what we got as we call it quits today for this day of babbling with me. This traffic circle in Long Beach, California was built in 1930 for the upcoming Summer Olympics. I've actually driven on that. It's really beautiful. I mean, it still serves its purpose even today. Really unique roundabout. You don't get many in America. I mean, they've started instituting them in Irvine, and people do not know how to drive on these fucking things. But it's a beautiful roundabout, is it not? Yeah. So I'm gonna call this video here. I hope you enjoyed my story time. I hope you enjoyed my babbling. And I hope you could take something away from the fact that zero violence tolerance policies, while I'm not condoning violence or fistfights or what have you on school, I think they do us a world of good. Because unlike when we're adults and we try to solve our problems with words, these kids need an outlet where they can solve their problems and stand up to their bullies, because the teachers don't give a damn. And the bullies know this, so they can just keep on picking until the kid snaps. And that's why you got hundreds of shootings a year. And we never had this problem in the 90s, and it's because we could kick each other's ass and walk away from it. And I remember one time I got in a fight with someone, and we became friends years later because I think they obviously found a mutual respect for me because I wasn't a pussy. Pardon my French. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this. If you like to give me a like, if you want to give me some feedback about what I could do differently or maybe play a different game, I don't know. Up to you. I want to make content you guys enjoy, but at the same time, it's been therapeutic to get my thoughts out. It's nice not to focus on a current event, because if I don't get the video out within an hour or 2 or 3 days of the event, no one's going to watch it. At least with this, you could watch it a year or two from now because no one's going to do anything about these policies. No one's going to do anything about school shootings, and this video will probably still be relevant 10, 20, 30 years from now. Anyway, I hope you have enjoyed. I hope you can survive the onslaught of bullshit we're faced with daily.